Hi, welcome to Crazy Courage TV, where we are busting success myths and learning how to live more courageously. I'm Kiana Miner, and today we're going to be talking with Luminita Saviuk. I'm so excited about this conversation. Luminita is a writer, she's a blogger. She started the blog The Purpose Fairy, which is a wildly popular blog about how to live your best life and how to really live a happy and peaceful, fulfilling life. So excited about our conversation. Hi, Luminita.
Hi, thank you for having me. So nice to be here.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. So, just so that we can get to know you a little better, I would love it if you could share with us one of your most courageous moments.
My most courageous moment. I guess my most courageous moment is the moment I realized that my life was going on a path that wasn't like going anywhere. And even though it was scary, just having the courage to tell myself, hey, you're going nowhere, and just taking the necessary steps to just, put my life back on track. Because that takes a lot of like work, and just facing a lot of shadows and realizing, okay, I'm not really going anywhere. And all this work, all these relationships, they don't serve me, right? And having the courage to let go of those and kind of to return back to yourself. So I would say that's my most courageous.
Okay, I love that. I love that because I think that you're right. It does take a lot of courage to say, okay, I'm not really going anywhere. And I think so many times we can talk ourselves into being happy right where we're at, even though we can feel that it's not right for us. Could you talk a little bit more about, like, when you say you weren't going anywhere, what did that mean for you?
Well, it was in 2009, and I was studying economics, which I hated. I didn't like it at all, and I came back from US after being there for 3 years, and I didn't really had any friends, right? So I felt like I didn't know who I was. I got out of a relationship that was like very unhealthy, for both of us, and all these things. Right, so I think that was kind of the result of me realizing, okay, I'm not going anywhere, and eventually say, okay, I'll finish college because I'm like, I started, so I'll just finish it, but never in my entire life will I do something that I don't like because it's so painful and it's hurting me so badly, right? So
yeah, I think that's so true. I actually had a similar experience. And the funny thing is, when you say you were studying economics, I think a lot of people from the outside world would say, well, you were studying economics, you were definitely going somewhere. You were living the life that I think a lot of people might say is a good life. You're studying, you're in school. And I think for me, I was in corporate America, and from the outside it looked like I was doing the right things. You know what I mean? Like, so having the courage to kind of step out of that and be true to yourself, I think is a big step.
yeah, because you're doing. I mean, I guess society has an image about what the right thing is, but deep down inside, you can have your whole life on the outside can be so colorful and it might look perfect, but if you're on the inside, you're dying. That's what's that, right? So you just have to honor yourself, even if that would mean like, okay, let's tear all these beautiful walls down because this is not me. This might be somebody else's life, but it's not mine. So why should I betray myself? Just because people say, oh, this is perfect. It might be perfect for somebody else, but not for me.
I love that. So what were the things you started doing to really get to know, okay, what is the life that I want to live? Who do I want to be in this world?
I think I was reading a lot and spending a lot of time alone with myself. So I remember it's an interesting thing because I realized that I was following the same pattern because when I was a kid, in school, there was a time when I didn't really care about school that much, but then I almost failed history class. And then, oh my God, if I fail, I'm going to be in big trouble, right? So I started studying. And I would spend a lot of time at home, studying. I would not go outside and play. And the same happened in this period. I was not really going outside, spending a lot. I didn't really have that many friends left because I was changing so much, right? And just people, so just reading a lot and doing a lot of programs, online courses,
Mhm.
meditating, and just like writing and kind of like taking a leap of faith because I had no idea what I was doing and whether the thing that I was doing were right. But I just knew that the old way, it didn't serve me. So I just do something else. I just do. So I kind of like took, okay, these people, if you do this and this, if you change your thoughts, okay, so I'll change my thoughts, right? So I kind of educating myself, unlearning all the things that I've learned up until that moment and
Mhm.
educating myself like a newborn baby. Okay,
Right.
this is. So doing those things kind of like eventually taught me that these things are real and they work, but you have to like it takes some time to cleanse of the old things and all the old life to leave it behind. And
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I think that's so true. And I love that you said that you were spending time alone, like you were spending time with yourself, because I think that's I really think that's the only way. Like we have to feel safe and trusting with ourselves in order to feel like whatever our hearts are telling us to do or wherever our intuition is taking us is a safe place to go.
yeah.
So, did you have any surprises when you started spending time with yourself? Were there things that came up that you were like, "Ooh, I didn't know that was there"?
Oh yeah, it's like I opened the Pandora box. It's like,
Mhm.
oh my god, most of them weren't too pleasant,
Right.
because you realize, I mean, I was in this relationship for so long and I was always like complaining and pointing the fingers like you're the source of my unhappiness. And the moment I started like spending time alone with myself, I realized, oh, I actually am a very unhappy person. So I was just projecting all my unhappiness onto this person, right?
Right.
And in those moments it's kind of scary because you get scared and you want to go back, okay, let's go be unhappy together, because it's so terrifying to be alone with this unhappiness, right? So there were moments when I wanted to go back to that relationship, but thank god things didn't work out, so I just stay there in your darkness and face your shadows.
Mhm.
So most of this thing, and I realized that it's about kind of facing yourself, not judging, because there's a lot of darkness, I think, in each and every one of us. But just
Mhm.
learning to accept that, and the more you accept it, it's like you heal it, right? You don't heal it through judgment, through criticism, no,
Mhm.
like rejection. You just heal like a small child. Okay, there's darkness here. Okay, let's heal that. And with love, it just you make light,
Mhm.
and things heal.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And I love when you talk about the relationship because I had a similar experience when I was in my early 20s and I had been in a relationship for a very long time. And the more personal development I started doing, because I realized too that I wasn't happy. So I started doing more personal development and reading and really spending time healing the dark areas of my life. And the more I did that, it was like the more the relationship got more and more strained. And I was like, wait, no, I'm doing this to be happy in the relationship. But the more it pulled me away from it and eventually without much effort on my part, the
Yeah.
relationship just kind of floated out of my life. And so I think it's funny that the more we can nurture ourselves, the more our lives will automatically start to shift in order to look like how it should look. So,
It's like thing you don't have to try to make things happen. It
mhm,
just it's like the Tao Te Ching says like I'm doing nothing and leaving nothing undone, right? So you're just connecting with yourself, centering who you are,
mhm,
and that's when life takes you places, and it removes the people who are no longer meant to be in your life just because you're no longer on that same path,
so
right?
true.
Not because there's something wrong with them, but it's no longer the path. The path
Mhm.
you're walking is not their path. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So, what does your self care look like today? What are some of the things you do today to make sure you stay true to yourself?
I meditate a lot, and I started praying before I mean, I'm a Christian Orthodox, but I'm not like that rigid when it comes to religion. I get interested in all religion, and learning more about spirituality because I realized that they kind of all have the same message, with different words but the same message, right? So I do my best to stay flexible. So I started praying, which I used to do when I was a kid, right? But I feel like as I started doing more, getting into this spirituality thing, I
Mhm.
kind of left prayer on the side, and I was doing a lot of meditation. But now I'm like meditating, doing prayers, exercising, just spending time alone with myself, outside in nature,
Mhm.
massages, and just I,
I love
I
massages.
yeah. Just taking care of yourself, nurturing yourself. Because the more peaceful you get and the more relaxed, the more you tune into yourself, and and the easier life gets. So
Yeah, that does. That self love does create that ease in life, which is nice.
yeah, yeah.
Has
So I'm praying love.
yeah, yeah. Has the courage to forgive, has that played an important role in your life?
Yes, very important. And I feel like because it's interesting right now. I mean, I work on finishing my book,
Oh,
and that it was for me. It was a lot of healing that I had to do with the book
okay.
because it was like about going in the past, right? Writing about things that happened, and without me even realizing, I kind of brought them to the surface. So I was writing, but then I was also realizing that okay, so the healing also has to take place. So a chapter, and then okay, healing. So I was doing also therapy. So I realized that I had to forgive, and I'm still like work. I think it's like a lifetime process. You just forgive for things that maybe consciously like, why should I forgive that? But you just do it because there's so much power in forgiveness. It's like your heart is right, it's clenched, or like there are some walls, and the more you forgive, that just the barriers they fall, and the fences and the walls, and it's you feel lighter and you have more love for yourself and everybody around you.
Yeah, that is definitely so true. I used to think that forgiveness was something you just did one time. Like, okay, this happened to me in my past, I forgave it. Now I'm free, I move on. And now it's like I'm realizing, honestly, you could say I forgive every day and knew your heart would open even more every day. You know what I mean? Sometimes for the same issue, just
Yeah,
continuously saying, okay, I forgive, this person or even this situation or even yourself. Like
yeah. Everybody just like do it for everybody. Yeah.
hmm
And I
I
actually like do this. Because I'm not just saying. I feel like I have to go in a place, close my eyes, and just see myself and that person, and just like shower ourselves with having like some conversation, then shower each other with love and light, because I feel that brings like so much more healing into
okay.
it and power.
Yeah, yeah, I love, yeah, power, definitely. And I love that you're doing that process as you're creating the book because as you say that, I already know that when the book comes out, as people read it, they will go through a similar process. Like, I love when artists heal as they create because you can feel it when you're coming in contact with their words, and it makes such a difference.
So it's like a journey that I actually had to walk. I mean, I walked it in the past, but then I walked it again for my healing, for deeper healing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything that you can share about your past that you've had to have the courage to heal?
Well, it's so much. Where should I start? Well, I think it's most important is the relation because it's the relationship that I had with my father
Okay.
because it wasn't a very healthy one. Like he was, I feel like a very tormented and lost soul, and I mean he was my father, but he didn't really behave like one, right? And because I feel like I was deprived of a lot of love and nourishment and my childhood, right? So of course, consciously it's like okay, I forgive, but at the same time, you know that there are deep wounds over there because imagine like 12 because he died when I was 12, so 12 years, right? He just there's a lot of and writing the book, I realized that a lot of things were coming to the surface, and I had to check with my mama. Are these real? Because suppressing things because probably it was a way of coping, with reality.
So
Because
there
if
were
not,
memories.
yeah, they were coming to the surface, and I was like, I had to check with my mom because I wasn't sure. So imagine like a little kid would just try its best to, suppress everything so you cope with reality. So I realized that I was actually from a very early age, I was playing with my mind, so I would change reality, the perception. So I would like, not to go crazy. So in the book, I write about that, like, so I go very deep.
That's
But
awesome. I think that's great that you can talk to your mother and that that you could confirm some of those memories and actually talk to her about things like that.
yeah, I did like. I feel like also the relationship maybe because before I felt like there was like okay, my mom, but we didn't really have that connection. Now like the connection is improving, right? Because it's like you feel the problem blame, maybe not, you're not always consciously aware of it, but of course there was a lot of blame,
Okay.
but everybody did the best they knew how to do, so
That's always
forgiveness.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think I asked that question because looking at you and reading your blog, I think it could look like you never really had any problems. You know what I mean? Like it could look like, I mean, because you have such a grace about you, it could be perceived that, oh, well, it's easy for her to do that because, she's had such an easy life.
No,
Right?
God, no. But I think usually it comes from that because I think it humbles you and it makes you realize. I mean, I had moments when I was going through challenging times and maybe I was mean to others, right? So I think it makes you realize that when somebody is acting in such cruel ways, there has to be a lot of pain inside, right? Because it's like there's so much that you can't handle it yourself, so you're just like pouring it outside, right? So it's like a cry for help,
Okay.
but it's like who to help you, who can help you, right? So I mean,
I love the way you describe that there's so much pain that you can't deal with it, so you externalize it. Yeah, I think that is what happens a lot of times.
because I noticed, I mean, I do. It's like everything that happens, I experience, but at the same time, I detach from the situation and observe myself, and I notice that there's like we have this innate need to give, right?
Right.
And since our true nature is love, right? That's what we are meant to give, love. But when you're kind of disconnecting from that, what do you give? You just give like the pain, right? So that's like a help me, it's right, it's like help me please, because if you're in your love, you're connected to your love part, right? Can you see that, I'm not, so can you please love me, and help me? Because yeah, so in those moments it's like you don't even love yourself, so you're acting in unkind and unloving ways, and you expect people to treat you like that, and they do, right? And that proves to you it's like I'm unworthy. You see, I'm unworthy because look how people treat me, right? So it's things are very complex. Nothing is, like people aren't just like they're mean because they are. No, there's stories behind those behaviors.
And I do like I can understand that our natural instinct is to give. So no matter who you are, you're giving that. And I think sometimes you can think, okay, I'm being nice and I'm being kind to other people, but if you're not being kind and loving to yourself, all you can give is what you have inside.
It doesn't come from an authentic place, right? You're kind of like forcing, okay, I'll be kind, but people feel that, right? Because they just feel it. So that's why just always be authentic and just honor who you are and the place you are in.
Yeah, that was such a great description of that. It's like a major aha for me. So I love the way you described that. When your blog like kind of blew up in that article that you wrote, well, it was 15 things you have to give up to be happy. Were you completely taken by surprise when that happened?
I was because I was like, so many things changed by then, because at that time I was like, yeah, I mean, I was working in this great company in Malaysia, which was like, I was working a lot with personal development, spirituality, right? And I realized that I knew, I had knowledge in that field, but I didn't really, realize what's happening. And then when the article went viral, I was like, okay. So I kind of like started looking at myself. It's like I took myself more serious, and I realized I'm not just like playing there. I mean, there's value in the words that I'm writing and in the things that flow through me, and I'm just sharing on the blog. So I think, yeah, it took me by surprise, and it took me a while to get used to it, but eventually I did, and luckily it didn't go to my head.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Yeah, I remember seeing the article like everywhere, and every time I saw it, I just took it as another sign that I needed to read it again. So I've read that article like so many times, and there's so much wisdom in it, but it's in a way that you can grasp it very easily. So yeah, I think that may be why so many people connected with it.
Yeah, because it's something that we all know, right? I mean, we all know that love, right? At the deeper level, we all know that love is who we are, love is what we need, right? But it's one thing to like, have it like rational, and another to actually experience it, right? So a lot of time you just need reminders. So I think that was like, at the soul level, it's like I think the soul recognizes that, and that's why it loves it.
Your soul is like, yes.
I know these things. I know these things. So I think it's just like a recognize. It's like I know, and just see the value, and that's how I take it.
Okay, I have three questions that I always ask everyone that I speak to. So I'm gonna start those questions now, and just answer with whatever you feel is true for you.
Okay.
So, what is your favorite book, either fiction or nonfiction?
My favorite book is Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu.
Okay, okay, I love that. Is that something that you've read over and over again?
I think I read it over 100 times. It's such a powerful book, and it's a book that you read it. The words are so simple, but at the same time, behind these words, there's so much more power, so much more meaning, and it will take me years for me to actually, okay, now I got it, because it happens like I started reading in 2008,
Okay.
and I have like now almost like, oh, I finally understand this verse because I'm experiencing it right now.
Okay.
So I love that book. It's my favorite.
Awesome, awesome. What is your favorite guilty pleasure?
My favorite guilty pleasure? Let me think. No, this is guilty pleasure. Oh, it's like guilty pleasure is like sweets and these kind of things, or but I don't know. I don't know if this is a guilty pleasure, but I just love to relax a lot. Just take naps and relax and baths and massages and.
Okay. I think that's an awesome guilty pleasure.
Well, the guilty pleasure, then yeah, that's my.
Yeah, naps are awesome. Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you necessarily have to be guilty about it, but I do think in this culture where we're so, everything is do productivity. Yeah, I do think that's a good one. Yeah. Awesome. Is there one habit that you have had to like kind of hardwire into yourself, like something that didn't necessarily come natural to you that you've had to really practice in order to live the life that you live now?
I think it was changing the way I was thinking,
Okay.
because my way of thinking was like probably it's because the way I was raised, and it's also probably the the culture here in Romania and the way people think, right? So I had to work a lot to kind of like change my thinking, and it was like time when I was actually, kind of doing like it felt like okay, let's take this thought because they're not good, and let's put this other thoughts, right?
Okay.
And then eventually became like natural.
Okay.
So it took me, yeah, I would say that's changing my thinking.
Okay.
Took me a while.
Yeah, I think that's a big one. I know for me it definitely was. I remember when I first read You Could Heal Your Life, and I thought, wait, I could control what's happening in my own mind. Like that was mind blowing to me. Like I was like, so I don't have to just accept the thoughts that I have, that I could consciously start to change them is a powerful realization.
It is. And it starts with the thoughts, because it's like the thoughts. The thoughts create the beliefs, and the beliefs create the reality, right? And everything. So it's just the thought. It kind of sounds simple, but at the same time, it's like.
Yeah, yeah. Could you talk maybe just briefly about, you mentioned Romania and some of the cultural beliefs you had to let go of. Could you mention a couple of those?
I noticed a thing here, probably because we were under communists for like so long, but it's like there's this mentality, I feel like sometimes victim mentality, and always waiting for somebody to rescue, to help you, right? And it's always what they did to you. You're never responsible, or the circumstances determine, right? If your parents are like this, you're doomed to be like this, right? So there's not too much. It's like you're just helpless. It's like you have no control of your life, and a very negative, outlook, and kind of criticizing people. And if somebody kind of does something beautiful, just, putting them down, not appreciating people, not appreciating value, right? You don't appreciate that. So there were a lot of them. So it's interesting now. It's interesting now that I'm here and I'm recognizing this, and I'm remembering. Oh my God, I used to think like that. Don't take it personally. Remember, you used to think like that, right? So, yeah.
Where are you now?
I'm in Romania.
Oh, you're okay. You're back. Okay. Yeah. As you speak about that, like it does remind me that at a certain time, because being sort of a minority in the country, I think it some of those same things that you're naming were things that were very normal to me at one point in time. You know what I mean? Like even working in corporate America, I remember that just how much we would criticize other people, and it was just like a natural thing. Like especially entrepreneurs or anyone who was kind of doing things differently, you would start to and it was just normal, yeah. And that those are some of the thought patterns that you have to break out of, the very ones that feel normal to you.
Well, yeah, but like a lot of negativity, kind of like picking on people and just like look at her, look at him, and yeah, judging those who are different.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's awesome. And was it just through repetition that you were able to do that?
That I learned to unlearn. That
Yeah.
I learned. Yeah, yeah. I think it's because I think there were like so many things, but like reading a lot, meditating, and kind of consciously working on, okay, changing the thoughts, right? So it was like I was actually going back to school, but I was kind of like schooling myself through the books and all the programs and courses I was like going through.
Okay. Isn't that some of the most important schooling that we can do?
Oh God, yes, I learned more from the books that I myself picked. Like this is what I want. I want to get interested in. This is what I'm learning. Then of course in school I wasn't the. I mean, I studied economics, which I hated. Right, I just went there because it's good for the future. It's like it's a career, right? And but yeah, if you're passionate about something, I mean, school is great, but if you're passionate about it, right? But what you can do on your own is even more important and more powerful, I think.
Okay.
It was for me. So
Yes, me too. Me too. Okay, our time is almost up, so I would love to know what you're working on these days. You mentioned the book. What other projects do you have on your plate?
well, I finished the book, so right now it's just a matter of like working with the editor, to kind of do like the changes and all these things, and just taking care of the blog. And right now I feel like it's because it was very intense for me, a very intense year writing the book. It was very very intense, like just going into sometimes a very dark world and a lot of healing. And I feel like right now I'm still that's how I feel like I'm still recovering from that place. It's like I relived the past, like all the painful experience, I relived them in 1 year. So yeah, so I'm like still I feel like I'm recovering and just going to a place where I feel like I'm tapping even more into like my soulful self. And I feel like I'm taking on a more spiritual path without me even wanting it to happen. I mean, I just go where life wants me to go. So I feel like I'm taking a more spiritual path. And so right now it's like traveling a lot with traveling within a lot. I have no idea what I'm going, what the future holds. I just have feelings, which is like everything tells me that it's going to be beautiful, but I don't have anything, goals. This is what I'm going to do. I don't have that.
Yeah, that's so beautiful, and I love how sort of easy you're moving into that transition. Like that is amazing.
Life taught me to do that, and I learned to like just surrender,
Hmm.
and not. There's a beautiful like from I don't know exactly from where, but they said we walk by faith, not by sight. From Corinthians, I think it is right. So it's just like more. I'm just trusting my intuition, just praying, meditating, and I know that I'm going where life wants me to go, where my soul, where God needs me to go, not where my mind. So that's what I learned. I feel like in this past 1 year, I learned to just completely surrender and not be attached to, okay, I want this and that. Because that's the mind, right? And I don't want to interfere because I understood that the path my soul needs to walk is sacred. And who am I to interfere by saying, I want this and that, which is like just the ego saying things that eventually I'll get them and realize that actually I don't even care about them. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, yeah, our ego can play that trick on us. And it's funny because when you do surrender, I find that life gives you so many more beautiful things. Like, not necessarily things, but just experiences and
Yes, yes.
feelings that that's what you were really seeking when you were trying so hard. But when you let go, it's like, oh my God, It can do it so much. My soul can do this so much better than me.
Imagination is more rich than our the mind is just limited. So that's why, like, you soul, you take the lead because you're connected to God and sort of all things. So you know a lot more than my mind does. So I trust you.
Awesome. Awesome. This has been an amazing conversation. Luminita, did you have any final thoughts on life or courage?
Well, it would be something just like what I always encourage people to just honor themselves. And what I've learned is to have conversation with my soul. That's what I call heart intuition. Just to have conversation and always ask, please lead the way, because I think each and every one of us has a very unique and sacred path. And if we just kind of like look around us and it's like, okay, that person is doing that person is that, we kind of like get disconnected from that path, and we just walk on a path that is not ours, right? And we'll never be happy. And just to always ask the soul to lead the way, and just to trust that by doing so, your life will get even more beautiful than you ever imagined, and you receive things and you will encounter people that you never dreamed of encountering. And I encourage people to do that, and just forget the mind and just tap into your soul, and let the soul to lead the way.
Yes, forget the mind and listen to the soul. Oh, thank you so much, Luminita. This has been just an amazing conversation.
The same.
And thank you everyone for watching. If you enjoyed this video, like it, share it, and subscribe to the channel. I have enjoyed this conversation so much and sharing this time with you. So it doesn't have to end here. Come on over to crazycourage.com where you can answer our question of the week, which in honor of speaking with Luminita, that question is, what is one trait that you want to nourish in yourself so that you can give it to others? So leave a comment below. Thank you so much. Until next Tuesday at 10, this is Kyana wishing you much love, joy, and crazy, crazy courage. Thank you. Bye. All right, it's giveaway time again. This week we are giving away Luminita's, or better known as the Purpose Fairies, 21-Day Challenge. This book will certainly jumpstart your inner joy. To enter the giveaway, you know what you have to do. Come on over to crazycourage.com and answer our question of the week, which is, what is one trait you want to nourish in yourself so you can give it to others? Answer the question below and you just may win next week. Thank you so much for joining us. While you're at crazycourage.com, go ahead and sign up for our email list where you'll get training on how to be your most courageous self. Don't forget that Crazy Courage TV airs every Tuesday at 10 o'clock. We look forward to seeing you soon. If you enjoyed this video, like and share it with your tribe. We'll see you next week for another courageous conversation. Until then, I wish you much love, joy, and crazy, crazy courage.